Now let's resume our class. Actually, about the coverage of Article 2.1, there are several exceptions, as you can see. The words in red. So my question is, what are the exceptions to the MFN treatment obligation of Article 2.1 of the GATS? The measures listed in the annex on Article 2, exemptions, and the measures that grant advantages to adjacent countries. Adjacent countries. What does adjacent mean? Neighboring, right? Neighbor countries. Okay. For example, Vietnam is an adjacent country of China. And all the exceptions are listed in this annex on Article 2, exemptions. This is an independent instrument. Good. Let's move on. Let's come back to this point, like services and service suppliers. Look, there is a difference. When we are talking about like products, then there's just one noun involved, just the products. But when we're talking about trading services, there are always two phrases appearing together. One is services, the other is service suppliers. They're different. Different. Services. For example, the service of hairdressing. Hairdressing. I can offer the service of hairdressing, right? But maybe one of my friends can also offer this kind of service, hairdressing. We are from the same country, but we're different suppliers, right? So it's different. Services, it's different between services and service suppliers. So do we need to separate these two conceptions? What's the basic principle? The basic principle is we adopt we adopt a holistic analysis, holistic of likeness consideration regarding both the service and the service supplier. What does that mean? We combine the service and service suppliers together. We just issue one finding, okay? Which means we consider these two elements together. Okay. That's a holistic way of analysis, holistic analysis of likeness. Okay. Next question. Is the assessment of likeness under the GATS similar to the likeness analysis under the GATT 1994? Likeness. Are these two similar to each other? Yes or no? I'm afraid we'll have to come back. Look here. Similar to the likeness analysis under GATT 1994. The answer is apparent, right? They are similar to each other. And the relevant factors to be considered are also similar, right? How many factors? 4, right? Physical, not exactly the same. Because there are 3 here, right? Only 3 factors. Consumer tastes, preferences, physical characteristics, and use. There's no and use here. Yeah, good. Okay, let's move on. Yeah, because we have only 1 week for chapter 5. The details will have to be dealt with by yourselves. Okay. But that's enough. The final examination will only cover what I talked about in class. Okay. Okay, then let's move on to section 4, the national treatment obligation concerning trade in goods. Come back to NT, goods, NT goods. Article 3 of GATT 1994. Question number 1. What does national treatment obligation concerning trading goods mean? In terms of this obligation, WTO members must treat imported products no less favorably than like domestic products. But there's one important condition attached. It's about once they have entered the domestic market, must enter the market. That's why it's called a national treatment. If it's happened at the border, it's nothing to do. There's nothing to do with the national treatment, right? Once they entered the market, then let's talk about the national treatment. Once they have entered the domestic market, as we mentioned just now, the internal regulation, look, the internal regulation can be divided into internal taxes and internal regulation. Okay, good. Then my next question would be, what is internal taxation composed of? Can also be divided into 2. A little bit complex. Look here, this paragraph, rather important. This paragraph. Internal taxation, and you need also to remember the specific article. Okay. Internal taxation is provided in Article 3(2). Look here. This is taxes. This is regulation. Okay. Taxation is provided in Article 3(2). Good. And internal regulation is provided in Article 3(4). Good. but no hurry. There's a further division, rather complex. It's for this. For internal taxation, Article 3.2, there are still two divisions. One, because there are two sentences. The first sentence. Look here, Article 3.2, first sentence is about like products. First sentence. The second sentence is about what? Good. Directly competitive or substitutable products. A little bit long, so I will not write them. Okay. Directly competitive. Directly competitive or substitutable products. So my question would be, what's the difference between these two? Why do we distinguish between these two? For internal taxation. Yeah. What's on your mind? What's your opinion?
No, we will learn that later.
Yeah, we will come to that later. Maybe next class you can be the teacher, okay? Because it's not that difficult. Just a language class. Yes or no? It's just a language class. We're just learning English, actually. Not that difficult. So this is page or slide okay. 138. 9. Okay. Nine. 10. 11. Yeah. Here. Let's talk about the difference between these two. Okay. It's in this slide. About internal tax. About internal taxation. What's the difference between like products and directly competitive? The difference is here. Directly competitive or substitutable products. Then what's the difference? Can you find the answer by yourselves? Which one is broader? Which one is broader? Which one includes the other? Just like this one. Which one is broader? Yeah, good. This one is broader. How? We can say this one, like products, is a subset of this one. Subset. In Chinese, 子集. Okay. I'll give you an example. Okay. Okay. The example is like this. Cell phones. Safely, safe and sound. Let's say it's Huawei. It's a cell phone of Huawei, okay? And let's suppose this cell phone is Apple, iPhone, okay? iPhone, which type? 13, okay. iPhone 13. Huawei, okay. These two cell phones, are these two cell phones like products or directly competitive? For example, this is from America, well, this is in China. Right now, we are importing this iPhone from America to China, right? Let's compare them. Are they directly competitive cell phone or like products? I'll give you another product, this one, iPad, right? Can iPad have similar functions to cell phones? Yes, right? For example, both of them can download apps. Download the apps of WPS, for example. Right now, I'm using my iPad. It's a real iPad, yeah. I'm using my iPad, the WPS. And right now, in this computer, the WPS, the app is also working, right? So we can say the iPad and the Huawei cell phone are directly competitive products, but they are not like products. Only the cell phone of Huawei and the iPhone 13 are like products. But the iPad from America and the Huawei cell phone are only directly competitive products. Okay, good. Thank you for your cell phone. Okay, then the difference is clear. Okay, that's the difference. Like products is a subset of directly competitive products. Okay. Because of this difference, we will have different what? We will levy different taxes because this is for 3.2 internal taxation. Only when they are taxed, we have this difference, this distinguish. What about internal regulation? We use only like products. Internal regulation, okay. Okay, then let's come back to this one. For Article 3.4, we've also got like products. Then my question is, the like products under Article 3.4 is similar to this one or this one? Is the like products under Article 3.4 similar to this one or this one? Which one? Let's turn to slide 148. Do you have a number there? I don't think so. Maybe I. It's here. Maybe it's here. Okay. Huh? Here? Here? Okay. I can't find the word, the exact word, but the answer is here. Okay, I'll tell you the answer. The product scope of Article 3.4 is identical with that of the second sentence of Article 3.2. Here. These two equal to each other. Second sentence equals here. Is it correct? According to your understanding. Not exactly, right? Let's read this paragraph. It's possible that smartphones featuring fingerprint and face recognition and smartphones without these features are like products in this market within the meaning of Article 3.4 of the GATT 1994, whereas they are not like products within the meaning of Article 3.2, first sentence of the GATT 1994. In that case, it's probable that smartphones with and without fingerprint and face recognition features are directly competitive or substitutable products under Article 3.2, second sentence. Oh, this is not there. Okay, never mind. You can find the answer after class. Okay. But this question is important. What's the scope of the like products under Article 3.4? Is it like this one or this one? As I recall, maybe this like product is like a combination of these two. If it's a combination of these two, then we might as well say it's the second one, right? Directly, because the combination of these two is just the directly one. Okay. Which means this like product is broader than this like product. Okay. When we are taxing, we are making taxation. So they are distinguished in more detail. Okay, then let's move on to the national treatment obligation concerning trade in services. The last one. National treatment obligation concerning trade in services. It's provided in Article 17 of GATT. Remember this article, Article 17 of GATT. 17. 1, 3, 2, 17. Question number 1. Is the national treatment obligation under GATT applied to all service sectors? National treatment obligation under GATT applied to all service sectors? Of course not. Why? Because the national treatment obligation of Article 17 of GATT applies only to measures affecting trade in services to the extent that a WTO member has explicitly committed itself to grant national treatment in respect of specific service sectors. Here. To the extent that a WTO member has explicitly committed. That's why commitment is important. Right? You still remember the table I showed to you? There is a schedule of commitments, right? Schedule of commitments. We also call it services schedules. And we've got goods schedules. Right. We've got goods schedules and the services schedules. The service schedules, sectors, market access, national treatment, right? That's the service schedules. Where do the members set out their commitments? In their services schedules. Schedule of specific commitments, commonly known as services schedule. Okay, about the services schedule, there are two parts. The generally applied part is called horizontal. Horizontal means it applies universally or generally to every sector. And when these limitations relate to commitments regarding specific services sectors, they are recorded in the column entitled Limitations to National Treatment. I'll draw it to you, although it looks a little ugly. Here, these are, okay, look at it. This is the, we say, how to see this? For specific sectors, where is this one? Horizontal, here. This is the horizontal. Horizontal commitment. Yes, at the very beginning of the schedule, okay? These are the specific sectors. And here is about market access, right? Here is what national treatment, NT. But look, it's about limitations to NT, not NP. It's limitations to NT. And this is the limitations to market access. And this is the service sectors. For example, this is dental service. You still remember this service schedule? Yeah. It's about limitations to national treatment. Limitations. Yes. And never forget, in the specific commitment, we divided into 4 modes. Into 4 modes, right? What's the mode 1? Mode number 1 is mode 1. Cross-border supply. Cross-border supply. Mode 2 is about consumption abroad, right? Mode number 3 is commercial presence. Mode 4 is about presence of natural persons. Although in Chinese it's called 自然人流动, but in English it's translated as presence of natural persons. So far, so good. Now let's come to the last part, and it's also the most important one because it has something to do with the content in Chapter 8, Exceptions. Yeah, here. Let's read this paragraph together. The requirement of treatment no less favorable in Article 17 of the GATS, just as in Article 2.1. What does 2.1 provide? MFN, right? MFN treatment obligation for trade-in services. Just as in Article 2.1, does not involve a separate and additional inquiry into the regulatory objective of the measures at issue. Instead, the balance between a member's obligations under the GATS and its right to pursue national policy objectives is ensured by means of the flexibilities, derogations, and exceptions provided in the GATS. Actually, this latter part, the national policy objectives, are just the exceptions. These national policy objectives provided in GATS are the exceptions to the general GATS obligations, regulatory objective of the measure. For example, Why would I, for example, I'm a country, why would I? Oh, here is in the context of surveys. Okay, rather complicated. I'll give you an example. It appeared in our textbook. It's about coffee services. There's a kind of coffee services, right? And for example, there are 3 countries. I'm country A. There is a country B, is my neighboring country, country B. And there is a country C from far away, okay? All of the 3 can offer the services of coffee, yes. We can call it drink services, beverage or drinks services. While to protect the traditional culture of handmade coffee, handmade brewing, coffee brew. This is a kind of culture shared by A and B, my neighboring countries. Both of these 2 countries can offer handmade brewing services, while the Starbucks from country C only can make a machine brewed coffees, okay? That's 2 different services, right? Why would I discriminate against the services offered by Starbucks? Because I'd like to protect the traditional culture of hand brewed service. This is an objective to protect the traditional culture. That is the regulatory objective. The objective for this kind of regulatory of the measure. Okay. That's a proper example. Which means, do we need to examine the regulatory objective when we are examining the requirement of treatment no less favorable? Yes or no? Do we need to examine the objective when we are examining the requirement of treatment no less favorable? Yes or no? According to this paragraph, yes or no? And that's why we call it the most difficult part. Yes or no? Look, does not involve a separate and additional inquiry. No. We only focus on whether there is a difference of the treatment. We never inquire into the regulatory objective. Why? Why would I discriminate against the beverage services offered by Starbucks? I don't care about that. I only care about the difference, the treatment, the difference of the treatment. Can you understand it? Good. Even though I don't, I'm not sure whether I explain it clearly. Okay, you can understand. Super. That's everything I'd like to talk about chapter 5, the principle of non-discrimination. I guess maybe she did some preview, and that's something I value most. She did a good preparation work, and that's why she understood what I'm talking about. Okay. Do you have any questions? It's beyond my expectation, because I finished this chapter within only 1 week, 2 periods. Do you have any questions? If there are no more questions, class is over. I'll see you still next week. Have a nice holiday.
Thank you.